Hi there, Kim Kunkel here, owner and designer over at EasyDigitals.com, time-saving backgrounds and templates for photographers. Today I have a three-part series for you. In part one, I'm going to extract a player from the background. In part two, I'm going to go over the layers of the Victory Lights set. And in part three, I'm actually going to add the player to the background. So I'm going to open up my soccer player. So I'm going to come over to File, Open, and this is the soccer player that I've already extracted from the background, and I click Open. Alright, so here it is, and I've made the shadow on a separate layer. It's just a duplicated layer with the top cut off, and I show you how to do that in a different tutorial, which I'll post. So I'm going to take both of these layers and I'm going to copy them over, but first let me make sure I have my Your Player Here selected. So then it'll go in right above that. So I come over here, right click, duplicate layers, and I select my template. Then I come over here. Okay, so now here's my players, my player in the shadow. So I'm going to select Control-0 to view the entire layer with the surrounding box. And I'm just going to resize this, both of them at the same time. And I'm not going to press enter until I have it the way I want it, because I don't want it to become pixelated if I keep adjusting it. Press enter, and then I'm going to come over to my magnifying glass and look at what I've done here. So I've got my shadow in here, but I don't want the shadow to look the way it does right now. So I'm going to come over here and change the blending mode. So I have darken, and that looks pretty good. And I'm just going to arrow through these and see which one I like best. I think for this I like darken best, but let me zoom in. I think that looks pretty good. Another thing you can do is you can come over to this gradient tool and select the round one and get your black. Let's see here, black on top. Well, I'll just come over here and grab it. Okay, so now I have black, and I want this one that has this partial see-through. And then I'm just going to add a layer. Duplicate layer. And I'm going to just drag this out. Now I can select it, and I'm going to make it come down here. And this just adds a little bit more dimension to the shadow. So then we can change the opacity to that, to overlay, or let's just go through these. Darken, I'm arrowing through multiply. I'm going to do darker color, but I'm going to reduce the opacity. I think that really sells the illusion of the shadow. And we could turn this off so we can see it better. So there you go. Another thing I want to do with this player is I don't like that I see a little bit of fringe there around the socks. Let me zoom in. So I am going to take this layer, the mask, I'm going to press Alt, and so I can see the mask by itself. And I'm going to come up to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, 1%, and click OK. And I'm going to press Alt and click the eyeball again so I can see the whole thing. Now I'm going to click Control L to bring levels up on the mask. I'm going to push this to the right and watch this fringe go away. And then I'm going to click OK. So now I don't see that fringe, and so I'm much happier with this. View, fit on screen. Okay, so it's coming along nicely. Now let's go ahead and turn back on these. And the bottom layer is going to be yellow. So I'm going to double click it over here in the layer. I'm going to match it to his uniform, and then I'm going to slide this over until I find a color I like. I like a little bit more orange. Then I'm going to do the same with this. I'm going to make this one red. Click OK. If you wanted to, you can make changes to this. Okay, so we can change this type. I have my cap lock on, I believe. Click OK. And you can change the font to this. just choose a different font that you might have or that you've downloaded. It's totally up to you. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this top layer. And I'm going to select, change the color to the same yellow. Click OK. And you can also change the background, the effects. So you can change the size of the shadow, distance. But I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as it is. I just wanted to show you how you could make those changes. Alright, so now let's go ahead and turn back on our smoke. I like the sharp smoke. And then you can have the haze if you want, but I think it looks good with just the sharp smoke. Alright, view, fit on screen, and so I think this looks great. Now if you wanted to, you could go ahead and sharpen the image and maybe do some other grunge effects to it if you wanted more of an HDR look, but this is just the basic changes that you can make with it.